here, but before there was a fireman house here. Here at the end you see one building which has this fortress character. This used to be part of the medieval city wall.
Okay.
And this is a funicular which takes guests up to the hill where the Ljubljana castle is. So Ljubljana, welcome to Ljubljana. Ljubljana is the capital, it's the Slovenian capital. It counts 260,000 people. It's a political, business, administrative center, and also university town, as well as 6 official also, missing people also, of people. So one big group is this is the central of the Ljubljana central market. Building with arches.
Yes.
Maybe you cannot see the columns because there are many columns. This is one of the most important masterpieces of the local architecture. She was born in Ljubljana and she was Josef Ličnik. One significant Slovenian architecture who left many traces here in Ljubljana because he was chosen also for the restoration of the city after the devastating earthquake which hit the city in 1895. He studied architecture in Graz, but he also moved then to Vienna, so to the capital of Austria. He was a student of a very famous professor of Vladimir. He spent 10 years in Prague, in the Czech Republic, where he participated by the rebuilding of the Prague Castle, which is a big complex. Far there, that's the commercial, or let's say business, and also commercial area of Ljubljana with many shopping centers. You can also see those buildings. Maybe they look like skyscrapers. For example, the black one, that is the Hotel Plaza. The Hotel Plaza is there. And other are pretty modern buildings which are used for business, mostly for business, but also residential. You see those grey blocks? Those are blocks of flats, so people live there. So this is also a residential area. Here beneath, not far from the local banks such as Intesa San Paolo, so one Italian bank. Then we've got here beneath us, but now unfortunately we cannot see it better, the Central Congress Square. And if you take a look to that hill, that is in fact Tivoli Park, which is a green area of the city. So Ljubljana is very green, as you can see. Maybe lots of vegetation, lots of trees, parks, and this.
Let's go. Sure. Yeah. 4 is downstairs.
Forest.
That wasn't forward at all.
It sounded like this.
That wasn't forward at all.
No. I just trying to catch up on you, like, so I want to go.
Goodbye. So here we see a small collection of weapons. Yeah. This is a part of the oldest here at the wall where the arches are. It's protected with the nets here. And this is the white, this is the gate. And this one derives from the oldest. This is part of the oldest guides in the world, which goes in Maribor. And in the north of the country, Maribor is the second largest Slovenian town, and the White there is or should be 450 years old, which is the oldest. This is the castle wine bar, shop, and the wine room. He's riding a horse and he's battling, killing the dead dragon. Dragon has a negative role in mythology. Chinese, you know.
Little room. You don't think I've been asleep, do you? Oh, no, no. Just deep in thought. You see, I'm the castle chronicler, and I'm trying to find a way to show you some of the castle's history so that you'll be fascinated by it too. How about a little journey through time? Let's start by going far back. This is the Castle Plateau with all traces of civilization removed. Imagine how peaceful it must have been when the view almost reached the moorland crags. The oldest traces on the castle hill were left behind by a settlement of mysterious people who flourished most vigorously between the 9th and 8th centuries BC. They built wooden dwellings covered with wicker and clay behind the palisades. But that doesn't mean they lived a bad life. Can you imagine the atmosphere on a rainy evening by the fire, with delicacies gathered from far and wide, simmering in a bronze cauldron? What did they do while waiting for their hot meal? Sharpen their first iron knives? Make jewelry and weave straw baskets? Or perhaps they sat by the fire, telling stories to make their children laugh. And what did they talk about? Reminisce about the past, or dream of the world beyond the bluish-green river, the afterworld, where they would one day travel in urns? Were there songs like those of the other peoples who lived in this area before the arrival of the Celts and later the Romans? On the left bank of the river was Emona, built from the rock of this hill. On the hill itself, there was only a military observation post, a temple, and a well, which still stands today. What is it they say? Closer to heaven, closer to God? Even for the end of Emona, a new Christian god replaced the Roman ones, and the ancient goddess of the waters, Equorna. The last of her worshippers lived at the foot of the hill beyond the walls of Emona. Behind the walls of Emona, life was much like anywhere else in the Roman Empire. Even the patricians here enjoyed a luxury of living that was unparalleled for a long time after their civilization. They had underfloor heated apartments, plumbing and sewage systems, good food and wine and art. But this wasn't enough. Did they gamble to accumulate wealth, or out of sheer boredom? Well, The last die was cast in the 5th century when the Ammonians too succumbed to the mighty Huns. With the early Middle Ages, the memory of the great civilization faded. The Slavs settled here before the new millennium. But the real history of our castle began in the 11th century. Before the 150-year rule of the Corinthian nobility, there was already a wooden fortress here. The Spanheims replaced it with a brick one, which also housed a mint. In the 12th century, Ljubljana was granted city rights and was walled in for protection. After the death of the last of the Spanheims, King Ottokar II of Bohemia briefly invaded the city, but was defeated by the Habsburgs in the famous Battle of the Marchfeld. The property then passed to them, but was temporarily in theft to the Counts of Gorizia. In 1335, the town and the castle were ruled by the Habsburgs. Before I go on, let me share a legend from the time before the castle was built, when a real dragon lived on the castle hill. In exchange for peace, the monster demanded that a young girl be sacrificed every year. This cruel fate also awaited the mayor's daughter, Marietica, so he offered her hand in marriage to whoever could defeat the dragon. For long, no such hero was in sight, until Knight George passed through. It was a hard-fought battle, but George gave the dragon a fatal blow. The ground beneath it burst open, and it vanished deep into the hill. The grateful people built a chapel in George's honor, but George didn't care much for the chapel or Marietica, for a knight's life of adventure beckoned. Well, I can't say my life is dull either. You know, I was named after Frederick III. It's an honor to bear the name of this Habsburg emperor. After the battle for Ljubljana, where he defended the city against the Counts of Celia, he also shielded the castle from the increasing Ottoman attacks. He tore down the old stone fortress and built a larger one in its place, equipped for firearms. The solid castle withstood the 1511 earthquake and later the revolt of the peasants who'd had enough of the hardship of forced labor. The emperor often visited the castle during renovation. Did you know that at the consecration of St. George's Chapel, he gifted it a large bronze bell? The castle fortress later gained another bell, which rang in the Piper's Tower. The tower stood close to the present viewing tower and boasted a lovely sounding horn that could be heard far and wide. The bell was used as a timekeeper. At 7 in the morning, it would ring out to commemorate the defeat of the Ottomans, and at 11 at night, it would accompany the night owls home from the taverns. The pipers, dressed in green, played on special occasions, but were also paid to give loud and timely warnings of fires. The pipers were last heard in 1769. When Napoleon's army invaded Ljubljana shortly after the French Revolution and made it the capital of the Illyrian provinces, the castle was a sad reflection of its former self. The French, who turned it into barracks and a hospital, didn't even have to demolish the Piper's Tower. It was dilapidated and collapsed of its own accord. The Illyrian provinces lasted only a few years, but for the first time allowed citizens insight into the benefits of a civil state, the vehicle of legal equality for all. French and Slovene were both official languages. New textbooks were written in Slovene. Education was strengthened, and national consciousness awakened. If not for the French, our castle would probably no longer exist. Just before their arrival, the Habsburgs planned to demolish it. The castle was also a military storage site, and its large stock of gunpowder had long been a threat to the citizens. In a storm, lightning struck the roof of the gunpowder magazine, causing a huge explosion. The heavy door of the magazine was said to have been found 4 kilometers away. And the black smoke long lingered in the shattered city, where not a single house was left intact. After the fall of Napoleon, the Habsburgs retook the castle, but don't think they restored it to its former glory. No. They turned our castle into a prison. Surely it was better for the castle to become a prison than to be demolished. Instead of being demolished, it was renovated in the 19th century. The old wooden viewing tower was replaced by today's clock tower. Who knows how attractive this was to the many prisoners serving their sentences above the city? You see, these were not only criminals, but also notable convicts, from writer Ivan Cankar to the first Hungarian prime minister. In 1905, a decade after the Great Earthquake, the famous mayor Ivan Hribar bought the castle on the city's behalf, dedicating it to the citizens. He was determined to turn the castle into Ljubljana's modern cultural center. The vision of the future castle also inspired architect Jože Plečnik, who envisioned a new Slovenian acropolis on the site, but had to settle for only the remarkable reconstruction of Šance. Yet, soon after the purchase, the castle was occupied by tenants from the social periphery. It wasn't until 1969 that a full-scale renovation began, which involved many experts. One of Mayor Hribar's last ideas to be realized was the funicular railway, which carried its first passengers in 2006. So, dear friends, here we are in the 3rd millennium. I've only shown you a fraction of the castle's rich and varied history, but no worries. The castle stories don't end here, nor do the many adventures that this green oasis above the city has to offer. One castle, many adventures. Dive in, and you're sure to be enchanted. Goodbye, my friends.
So in Molitz, this was so the inhabitant of the Roman Emona. Emona was the name of the Roman settlement. Nowadays Ljubljana. So this is one of the oldest sequels. So so there was 3,200 BC. The world that was created by the Undertow. And so founded on the territory of nowadays Slovenia. This is the first history of the Roman period. It's shown here. So Romans here on the territory of nowadays Slovenia, besides Ljubljana, they founded also other towns such as Celia is still because you know they came from Rome or from our religion. Yeah? There are many churches dedicated to her. Also, the Assumption Day is a national. It's a public holiday in Slovenia, which is on the 15th of August. So here we found detail of the coat of arms of the Celia Knight, or let's say counts. Yeah? They were a very powerful medieval dynasty. They were settled in the city of Celia, but these three stars you can also find today on the Slovenian national coat of arms. As I said, it's the coat of arms of Hermann II of Celia. So even even mining was found in the movies. So in the 70s there was very popular TV series of Patent Ways.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yes.
That was a moment. So my mother found an inspiration there. Vegetables, exactly. This is food, and here this is clothes, footwear, accessories, for example. new and small village. Bigger is larger because and it was built much earlier and later the architecture added two parallel smaller bridges. And now the people do one of the highlights of Ljubljana. And now out here, this is the old town. Here we now have the painting here about during the Habsburgs' time. And here on this board, you can also see the coat of arms of the city of Ljubljana. So you see this red colored coat of arms. There is a castle, and on the top of the castle, the green feature is a dragon. This side, and you will pass many columns. This is part of the Ljubljana Central Market design. Kitchen utensils. built this first of all the church and later